Welcome to our deep dive into the most significant scandals that have rocked the Catholic Church over the centuries. From ancient times to modern-day controversies, these events have left an indelible mark on history, shaping not only the Church itself, but the lives of millions across the globe. For over 2,000 years, the Catholic Church has stood as a beacon of faith and tradition, a guiding light for countless souls. Yet, like any institution with such a vast and enduring legacy, its history is not without its shadows. In this series, we will journey through some of the darkest chapters of the Church, exploring the scandals that have tested its moral authority and shaken the very foundations of faith. These are stories of abuse, corruption, and the struggle for power, stories that demand to be told and understood. Join us now as we embark on this unflinching exploration of the Catholic Church's most troubling episodes, uncovering the truth behind the scandals it would rather forget. Perhaps the most harrowing scandal to plague the Catholic Church in recent times is the systemic sexual abuse of children by members of its own clergy. This appalling betrayal of trust, often perpetrated by those entrusted with the spiritual well-being of the young, has left countless victims scarred and disillusioned. The sheer scale of the abuse, spanning decades and continents, is staggering. Thousands of cases have come to light, revealing a deeply ingrained culture of silence and cover-up that allowed these horrific acts to continue unabated. The impact on victims has been devastating, leaving them grappling with trauma, shame, and a loss of faith. The Church's reputation has been irrevocably tarnished, its moral authority severely undermined. While efforts have been made in recent years to address the issue and bring perpetrators to justice, the scars of this scandal run deep, a stark reminder of the human capacity for both good and profound evil. The journey towards healing and reconciliation remains long and arduous, a testament to the gravity of the crimes committed. As the horrifying truth about sexual abuse within the Church began to emerge, an even more disturbing pattern came to light: a systematic effort to conceal these crimes and protect the abusers. From small parishes to the highest echelons of the Vatican, a culture of secrecy and denial allowed the abuse to flourish unchecked for decades. Bishops and other high-ranking officials, driven by a misguided desire to protect the Church's reputation, actively participated in covering up allegations. Victims were silenced, abusers were transferred to different parishes, and evidence was suppressed, allowing the cycle of abuse to continue unabated. This global conspiracy of silence only served to compound the suffering of the victims, while further eroding public trust in the Church. The revelation of these cover-ups sparked outrage and calls for accountability, forcing the Church to confront its failings and implement reforms. However, the fight for justice and transparency continues as victims and their advocates demand a full accounting of the past and meaningful action to prevent future abuse. The Vatican City, a place of immense power and secrecy, yet even here whispers of scandal can escape. In 2012, the Catholic Church faced Vatileaks. Confidential documents were leaked. These included financial records and private letters. The leaks exposed corruption and power struggles. The scandal forced an internal investigation and calls for reform. The digital age exposes secrets. The sexual abuse crisis within the Catholic Church is a tragedy of immense proportions. The systemic cover-up allowed it to persist for decades. Silence, denial, and reluctance to involve authorities characterized the Church's response. Bishops often handled accusations internally, transferring priests or providing counseling. This culture of silence allowed predators to continue operating. The consequences have been profound, eroding trust and causing pain. The Church has taken steps to address this issue, implementing stricter policies. However, the legacy of this dark chapter continues to haunt the Church. In the heart of Europe, nestled amidst the rolling hills and picturesque canals of Belgium, lies a nation deeply rooted in Catholicism. Yet, even in this devout country, the Church has not been immune to the scourge of sexual abuse. In 2010, Belgium was rocked by a massive scandal that shook the foundations of the Catholic Church within its borders. A commission received an overwhelming response, with hundreds of victims coming forward to share their harrowing stories. The Commission's report painted a grim picture of widespread abuse, cover-ups, and a systemic failure to protect children. The sheer scale of the abuse, spanning decades and involving a significant number of priests, sent shockwaves through Belgian society. The scandal had profound implications for the Catholic Church in Belgium. Public trust in the institution plummeted, attendance at Mass declined, and many Belgians felt betrayed by the very organisation that had once been a source of comfort and guidance. The scandal also led to calls for greater accountability and transparency within the Church, as well as demands for justice for the victims. The Belgian abuse scandal, like those in many other countries, exposed the dark underbelly of an institution grappling with a painful and pervasive issue. It served as a stark reminder that the abuse crisis is not confined to any one geographic region or cultural context, but is a global problem that requires a global response. The Catholic Church, a beacon of hope, has also been shrouded in darkness. From the 1930s to the 1990s, a chilling practice unfolded in Spain. Newborns were systematically stolen by doctors, nurses, priests and nuns. Mothers were told their babies had died, often against their will. These children were then illegally adopted by families with ties to the church or regime. The full scale of this scandal is still being uncovered. The Catholic Church often grapples with individuals who exploit their power, betraying trust. Martial Maciel, founder of the Legionaries of Christ, was a serial abuser. He preyed on young seminarians for decades. His victims faced unimaginable psychological torment. The Vatican was slow to react, despite years of whispers. Protected by powerful allies, Maciel's abuse continued. In 2006, the Vatican finally acknowledged his crimes. The Legionaries of Christ were left reeling, confronting their founder's sins. The scandal highlighted the need to safeguard the vulnerable. The Second World War, a period of unprecedented horror, presented a profound moral test for institutions and individuals alike. Pope Pius V, head of the Catholic Church, faced intense scrutiny for his actions and inactions during this tumultuous period. While he condemned war, his silence on Nazi atrocities, particularly the Holocaust, remains controversial. Critics argue a stronger stance could have saved more lives, while defenders highlight his behind-the-scenes efforts. The Catholic Church, a beacon of faith, has also faced dark times. In the Middle Ages, the selling of indulgences stained its reputation. Fear of purgatory weighed heavily on medieval Christians. Indulgences offered a spiritual fast track. People paid to reduce time in purgatory. This practice was riddled with corruption. The Church became a marketplace for forgiveness. Outrage and dissent followed. This led to the Reformation, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked power. The papacy has seen many figures, but few as controversial as Pope Alexander VI, born Rodrigo Borgia. His reign was marked by ambition, power and scandal. Nepotism was rampant, with his children Cesare and Lucrezia playing key roles. Allegations of corruption and debauchery further tarnished the Church's image. Yet his papacy also saw a flourishing of the arts and Renaissance spirit. Alexander VI remains an enduring enigma in papal history. In the heart of Rome, a city steeped in history and intrigue, stands the Vatican, the spiritual heart of the Catholic Church. But behind its sacred walls, a darker history has unfolded. In 964, Pope John IV was assassinated, shaking the papacy. His reign was marked by controversy and debauchery. Powerful enemies conspired against him, leading to his violent demise. The truth remains shrouded in mystery. The year is 897 AD. Deep within the Vatican, a shocking spectacle unfolds. Pope Stephen VI orders the exhumation of his predecessor, Pope Formosus. Formosus, dead for 7 months, is propped upon a throne, accused of perjury and violating canon law. This macabre trial, known as the Cadaver Synod, ends predictably. Formosus is found guilty, his papacy nullified, his body is desecrated and thrown into the Tiber River. Whispered in hushed tones and scribed in forbidden texts, the legend of Pope Joan has captivated and scandalized for centuries. Disguised as a man, she rose to become pope. Her identity was revealed during a papal procession. The legend, likely apocryphal, speaks to societal anxieties. It remains a powerful symbol of female agency and hidden histories. Throughout history, the papacy has been plagued by accusations of nepotism, the practice of favouring relatives or close friends, often over more qualified candidates. This tendency has cast a long shadow over the Church's moral authority. Popes have struggled to reconcile familial ties with sacred duties. The Borgia family is a notorious example. Pope Alexander VI advanced his family's fortunes, appointing his son Cesare as a cardinal. Such actions have fueled accusations of hypocrisy and undermined the Church's credibility. The Catholic Church, a beacon of faith for millions, has also been marked by periods of profound darkness. One such period was the Inquisition, a group of institutions within the Catholic Church whose aim was to combat heresy. Established in the 12th century and lasting for hundreds of years, the Inquisition cast a long shadow over Europe. Operating with the full authority of the papacy, inquisitors were tasked with rooting out and punishing those deemed heretical. Their methods were often brutal, employing torture and imprisonment to extract confessions. The fear of the Inquisition's reach was pervasive, silencing dissent and stifling intellectual discourse. The use of such harsh methods, often employed against religious minorities and those accused of witchcraft, has left a lasting stain on the Church's reputation. While the Inquisition may be a chapter the Church would rather forget, it serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of religious extremism and the importance of tolerance and freedom of thought. The 17th century saw Europe on the cusp of a scientific revolution. Galileo Galilei's observations supported the heliocentric model, challenging long-held beliefs. This brought him into conflict with the Catholic Church. Summoned before the Roman Inquisition, Galileo was forced to recant. The Galileo affair remains a cautionary tale about suppressing scientific inquiry. In the 14th century, a series of events would shake the very foundations of the Catholic Church. The papacy, traditionally centred in Rome, found itself relocated to Avignon, a city in southeastern France. This period, known as the Avignon Papacy, lasted for nearly 70 years, from 1309 to 1376. Driven by political pressures and conflicts within Italy, the move to Avignon was initially meant to provide a safe haven for the papacy. However, the relocation had far-reaching consequences, leading to accusations of corruption and subservience to the French crown. The Avignon papacy became a source of great controversy, with many questioning the legitimacy of popes residing outside of Rome. This period of papal exile would ultimately pave the way for the Western Schism, a tumultuous era in which rival claimants to the papacy emerged, further dividing the Catholic world. The Avignon papacy serves as a reminder of the fragility of power and the profound impact that political maneuvering can have on even the most established institutions. And so we arrive at the late 14th century, a period of immense turmoil within the Catholic Church. Imagine, if you will, a world where the very foundation of faith, the papacy itself, is shaken to its core. This was the era of the Western Schism, a time when not one but multiple individuals claimed the mantle of the papacy. Rival factions within the church, often influenced by powerful monarchs, threw their support behind different candidates. What followed was a chaotic period with 2, and at times even 3, men claiming to be the true pope. Each contender commanded the loyalty of different parts of Christendom, further deepening the divide. This schism within the church had profound consequences. The faithful were left in dismay, uncertain as to who represented the true voice of God. The late 11th century saw the rise of a new phenomenon in Christendom, the Crusades. These were not simply wars of conquest, but rather they were framed as holy pilgrimages, armed expeditions to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim rule. Fueled by religious fervour and the promise of spiritual rewards, wave after wave of crusaders marched east. Knights, commoners, even children were caught up in the tide, driven by a potent mix of faith and the lure of adventure. The First Crusade, launched in 1095, achieved unexpected success, culminating in the capture of Jerusalem in 1099. This victory, however, was short-lived. Over the following centuries, a cycle of crusades and counter-crusades would engulf the Holy Land. But the Crusades were not without their dark side. The conquest of Jerusalem was marked by a massacre of its Muslim and Jewish inhabitants, a grim foreshadowing of the violence that would characterize these conflicts. The Italian Renaissance, a time of burgeoning artistic and intellectual creativity, was also a period of great political and religious upheaval. In 1527, these tensions would erupt in an event that shocked the Christian world, the sack of Rome. An army assembled by the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, comprised largely of unpaid and poorly disciplined German and Spanish troops, descended upon Rome. Outnumbered and outmaneuvered, the city's defenders, including the Swiss Guard, were overwhelmed. For 3 days, the Eternal City was subjected to an orgy of violence and looting. Churches were desecrated, palaces ransacked, and citizens terrorized. The Pope himself, Clement VII, was forced to seek refuge in the Castel Sant'Angelo. The sack of Rome marked a turning point in the Italian wars and left an indelible scar on the psyche of the papacy. It served as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of even the holiest of cities to the brutal realities of power politics. From the Crusades to the sack of Rome, these scandals have shaped the history of the Catholic Church in profound ways. They reveal a complex institution, one capable of both great good and terrible transgressions. Understanding them helps us grasp the complexities and challenges the Church has faced over the centuries. For it is only by confronting the darkness that we can truly appreciate the enduring power of faith and the ongoing quest for redemption. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content.